What's up, guys? Welcome to Chasing Pelagics. I'm Jeff, and this is your SoCal fishing forecast for Thursday, September 5th. Quick look at our 10-day weather here. We do have some high pressure that's going to be moving in here, keeping it pretty warm over the next several days. Marine layer is starting to lay down a little bit. It hasn't been as wet as it has been in the previous weeks, but definitely some of this morning stuff is still hanging around. But overall, very tolerable. Our biggest problem still is going to be the wind as we look at the next coming days here. Pretty steady 10 to 15 knots. And then we get these occasional few hours of high gusts up to 25. And unfortunately, that is going to be the biggest problem if you're heading west to the bluefin zone. For the most part, this is going to be a considerable problem not only Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then it kind of fades into Sunday a little bit in the afternoon, and then the rest of next week looks better. But again, this model has been extremely unreliable. Can't say much more about it than that, but it's really the angle of the northwest wind that controls the wind swell and the angle that you're going to be approaching from. So every day is a new day. I'd like to say that these models are, accurate within a couple of days, but over the previous weeks, it really hasn't been. We've had days where I said it's gonna blow 15, 20, and it's a glassy morning, then 10 in the afternoon. But right now, just looking at our current marine forecast. So if you're looking say around San Clemente Island here, 10 to 20 knots, 5 to 7. That's pretty serious stuff. You want to look north, out past there, it's getting even bigger. So it's got to be a day-by-day thing. Right now, it's calling for a small craft advisory. It'll probably keep being extended through the weekend. Today, I saw some good video out west, and it looked pretty nasty. A lot of guys, if you're going to be running on a 6-pack boat, are probably going to be canceling. Looks like the next coming days, just not really worth it. Hard to keep eyes on them when the wind's up. Makes those fish on the surface a lot harder to find. Also, sport boats will probably still run. They got sonar, so they can kind of just putz around and look for their last known location. They have a little bit better chance of finding those fish when the wind is up. Let's look at our charts here. Actually, I want to cover one more thing on our wind here. Let me back this out just to keep an eye on here. I noticed if you had a little break in tropical activity, but looking at Thursday next week into Friday, we got this little thing that ramps up by Cabo. This is a long ways out on the forecast, so it could be complete crap, not realistic at all. Maybe happen, maybe not even close to happening. So I just always like to look out on the tropical conditions and kind of see what's going on. These things do make our weather unstable and could definitely change our fishing and or weather at the same time, even though they're pretty far away. But it's on there. So we'll keep an eye out for that one as well. All right, back to the charts here. We have a nice, still steady stream of warm water in our local banks. 73 degrees, about average. Unfortunately, the local banks are just not holding much. Usually this time of year we get the yellowfin, the killipaddle fishing gets going. This is like the stuff that the Orange County guys really wait for prime summer season to just smash the local banks and patties and pick up yellowtail and dorado and possible yellowfin. And just we're not seeing that volume this year. A lot of guys have been out looking. There's an occasional find here and there, but for the most part, inner banks have been more or less a strikeout. But is what it is. You notice that still out here we have this edge here. We are looking at the 8-day chart, by the way. Give you an idea what the 3-day looks like. It's pretty much the same. So still a couple holes in it, but all in all, pretty much the same. And I don't know if we got much of the 1 day is pretty holy as well. So, but yeah, still looking at the 8 day. Chlorophyll. Let's talk about chlorophyll, borophyll. Do have this green water that's being pushed in here by the wind. I would expect this to keep sliding in a little bit. Right now it's holding off. Here's the 1 day. It's still here. It doesn't look as bad as that orange water that we had out there, and that's usually like red tide material. So maybe it's cleaning up. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but this green water is definitely holding back fish from moving up to the Channel Islands for sure. Locally, let me come back to the 1 day here. We still have, there's a little bit of green water here hanging off the coast. I suspect that there's some more of it through here as well. And coming back to 3 day here, maybe this fills in a little bit better. No, not much help. Not much help. But anyways, I do suspect it looks similar to this, where we have a little bit of a green water along the coast here and moving down to the rock pile. So people have asked, like, what do you mean when the wind blows from the south, fish don't open their mouth? Well, one, especially specific to the Coronados, when we get this green water here, when the wind blows from the south, we have the eddy condition here, and it pushes the water up. And sometimes it'll push this green water right into the islands. Not only is it green, but it's cold, and then it kind of just shuts off the bite. So it just depends on how much that south wind is ripping. A light south wind or the position of the eddy really dictates if this is really a south wind or a west wind, or just maybe it's momentary in the morning and then a strict northwest in the afternoon. Usually those type of conditions won't affect it, but it's when you get a really strong one that gets ripping, where things can turn off and heartbeat. So, but moving forward, as far as the islands go, Catalina, the local yellowtail fishing around the island, status quo. Nothing as much really changed. Nothing great happening. The biggest sign so far, again, this year, I think it's been striped marlin. I think everyone was expecting a big year with the El Nino, and then we got the La Nina, and we didn't get any yellowfin. We didn't get any Dorado. But it seems like the striped marlin numbers are the best it's been in a really long time. I will make you aware that the Master Angler Tournament from Balboa Angling Club is this weekend, and I guarantee they're going to be around the island. Most certainly. There has been marlin seen front side, back side, east end, west end, up along the ridge of the platforms here. If I switch this to bottom detail, you can see what I'm talking about. But they'll pile up here. In other tournament years, run all the way up here to the Channel Islands as well. And we've even been seeing them along the coastal shelf. So you kind of find that green water edge if you can, if you want to stay close, stay out of the wind. This might be a good option for you if you want to chase that stuff down and avoid the boats. I guarantee there's going to be boats at Catalina this weekend. Doing a lot of trolling, a lot of pitching light baits for striped marlin. Speaking of that, one of our viewers, Brett, on his trawler, brought out to Catalina and tows his jet ski to go fishing off of it when he's at Avalon. His boat's called the Dive Bar, and he was going to go looking for that bluefin and head west and take some chances, but didn't feel comfortable going that far west without a boat buddy. So he decided to hang around the island, and he ended up hooking the striped marlin on a Mad Mac, of all things, with a treble hook, just like he would set up for bluefin, and ended up being a 164 pounder and 3 hours of work on a jet ski. I commend him. That's tough to do, and somehow he managed to get some of it on film. So hats off to Brett. Awesome hearing a cool fish story like that. We mentioned already earlier this year we had a guy catch one in a kayak. It just seemed like it's the year of the striped marlin, and marlin, they're a silly fish. There's times when you can just see them. You'll see a lot of numbers. they won't bite for nothing, and then the light switch turns on, and all of a sudden you can't stop them. They're just wide open, and all they want to do is eat. So you never know what day you're gonna have marlin fishing. It could be a long one, or it could be an incredible one. Um, but yeah, that's kind of what gets guys hooked on that billfish chase. So please be aware. A lot of boats heading out there. Like I said, the tournament's Friday, Saturday, but I guarantee these guys are pre-fishing priority today, poking around, taking a look at stuff. So be advised if you're headed to that particular island. Santa Barbara Island, occasional yellowtail being caught here, although most people are not really fishing the island for that. There's been bluefin out here in this zone, kind of between the island. We've had some back down on the escarpment again by the 499. So again, this stuff is kind of just moving around. Unfortunately, it's not just hanging out on one solid spot. Some days they show really good, some days they don't. If there's a lot of wind, it's going to be a lot harder to find. So keep that in mind. Tanner Bank, Cortez Bank, still producing, although you probably heard about the jig strike over the weekend. Really unfortunate that we lost that boat. Thankfully, all 17 people aboard were safe. Practiced those safety drills, got them on the life raft, and you never know what's going to happen. You always got to be prepared, and that's the reason why they practice those drills. Commend the crew, captain of Jig Strike, for doing an excellent job getting those passengers on the life raft. And something that's probably not been said, the Jig Strike is a 53-foot vessel. It's not required to have AIS on, and they pretty much run every trip with it on. And although some people might think, oh, you're giving away the fishing or whatever, at the end of the day, it's passenger safety is what is most important. And luckily, this event allowed them to muster on the back of the deck and have time to put stuff on. But if it's something that was more catastrophic, like an explosion or something like we had with the Conception, there's not always that time to grab the radio and drop your coordinates on a mayday. So I want to commend him for leaving his AIS on. Allows ships to find you, also not run into you like the Prowler, things like that. So big shout out to the crew and those guys. They did an excellent job making sure everyone was safe. If you were on the Jig Strike and you lost your gear, like some of you out there, I already spoke to a couple guys. DM me on Instagram, and I will set up a special discount code, particularly for you, just over my cost to make sure we can help get you back on your feet. I know insurance takes a lot of time, and you probably want to go fishing in this season. And if there's anything that we can do to help you out, we'll certainly try and do that for you. So either send us a message on our webpage or through Instagram on DMs, and we'll do the best we can to take care of you. So as far as fishing goes out here, Tanner Cortez, again, a little mix of everything. We still got bluefin, daytime, nighttime. Some guys are fishing on the anchor at night, catching yellows, catching white sea bass. Some guys are making squid with it and fishing on dropper loop, certainly an option. Although most guys have a full day of fishing, they don't want to stay up all night to catch sea bass. So, you know how it is, all this vampire fishing. And I think it's a lot of fun personally, but it's not for everyone. We have had some bluefin pop up here on the backside of San Clemente Island the last few days. Hopefully it sticks around a lot closer than heading west. I know these private boat guys are really interested in catching some fish since the local bakes aren't really producing that well. So hopefully maybe this might be accessible if the wind doesn't get too gnarly. Certainly a shorter drive than out to San Nick or the Osborne. We'll see how it goes. Around the island, yellowtail fishing has not particularly been great the last few days. Not much current moving around, which is, got to have those conditions for island fishing, unfortunately. But, maybe if you give up on bluefin and want to go look for conditions in between the tides, might not be a bad idea. Something to poke around at, keep it busy. Moving further south, Coronados have been steady. The last couple of days, it was wide open for a couple of weeks. And every day is a little bit different. Today, a few boats are catching fish. Still some bluefin and yellowfin moving around here, they're really, really spotty. The San Diego today put in 120 miles and saw one school boofing. So, you know, some people are striking out, some people are scoring, unfortunately. The offshore stuff around the islands has not been real steady. The guys from Mars today definitely raked in a couple big bluefins, so they're probably working that temp break here that we've been looking at for the better part of 3 weeks now. But we got this cooler water here, you know, the 425, maybe the upper hidden. I mean, lower finger, maybe come out here to the 238. You know, that's a long ways to go, but I guess we'll just depend on what's going on with that wind. So that's kind of the best thing you got to work with here for right now. But as again a reminder, I say it every week, please be safe out there on the water. Make sure you got all your safety gear, life vest, backup radio that's battery powered so it floats. So if you lose your electronics, whenever you got something extra, EPIRB, personal locator beacon, whatever other extra safety devices you got, just be prepared to take care of yourself and your crew and not have to necessarily rely on somebody to come find you or track you down. So that's it for this week, guys. Be safe out there, and we'll catch you next week. Cheers. Hey, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and check out our website and online store at chasingprojects.com. And make sure you share the stoke.